Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya Burhanudin Al-kahfi, NIM 102200067, kelas SMD. Introduction. The presence of empire in the representation system is a distinctive feature of the democratic system in Indonesia. Empire membership, consisting of members of the DPR and DPD members, indicates that the empire is still viewed as a representative body of the people because of its membership elected in the general elections. Research, result, and discussion. Disposition of the People's Consultative Assembly as the executant of the sovereignty of the people in Indonesia prior to the amendment of the 1945 Constitution. This can be seen in the provisions of Article 1 Number 2 of the 1945 Constitution. Stipulasi that sovereignty is the hands of the people and carried out according to the Constitution. In the above article, it contains the remainings, namely, 1. People's sovereignty is exercised by all state institutions established in the Constitution. 2. People's sovereignty shall be subject to the Constitution, the supremacy of the Constitution. 3. People's sovereignty is limited by the rule of the Constitution, constitutional democracy. The characters of the states that adheres to the principle of people's sovereignty as follows. 1. People's representative institutions are elected. 2. The composition of membership shall be stipulated by the Constitution. 3. Has a representative body of the people. 4. Sovereignty in the hands of the people and carried out according to the Constitution. The result in the absence of check and balance in constitutional institution, among others. 1. The 1945 Constitution gives a very great power to the executive power president. 2. The 1945 Constitution contains articles that are too flexible and flexible so that it can lead to more than one impression, multiple interpretation, such as Article 7 of the 1945 Constitution. 3. In the 1945 Constitution, too much authority of power of the president to regulate the important matters with the law. The president. 4. This opens up opportunities for the development of state management practices that are inconsistent with the preamble of the Constitution, among others, as follows. A. The absence of checks and balance between state institutions and power can threat on the president. Infrastructure established, among others, political, and community organizations. C. General election is held to meet the requirements of formal democracy because the whole process of implementation is controlled by the government. D. Social welfare based on Article 33 of the Constitution is not achieved in its effort is a system of monopoly and oligopoly.
According Prof. Joko Sutono, a state is a human organization or a collection of the human beings who are under the some government. This government is a tool for the people are acting in the interest of the state in achieving organization goals. The system is whole, consisting of several parts that have a functional relationship to the totality, thus causing a dependency relationship between the parts. Thus, if one part is not working properly, it will affect the whole of its section. The government can be interpreted in two meanings. One, government is the broad sense is all the efforts conducted by the state in carrying out to people welfare interests of his own country. Two, the government is narrow sense is task that only government runs the active power. Principle of parliamentary government system include a head of state is not positioned as head of government signs is merely as a national symbol. B. Government is carried out by cabinet led by the Prime Minister. C. The cabinet is concuttable to and can is imposed by Parliament with a mention. Therefore, the passion of the executive cabinet is lower thus and dependent on the Parliament. 1999 until now after amendments, MPR faction agreed on a few things that do not concern and disturbing existence of the state. The contents of the agreement are: I. Does not change the 1945 preamble. B. Defending the unitary state of the Republic of Indonesia. C. Reinforce the presidential government system. D. Abolition of the 1945 explanation and include normative matter of explanation in the chapters in the body of 1945. A. The amendment is made by addendum. The amendment of the 1945 Constitution also affects the governance system prevailing in the Indonesia. According to Jimli Asidiki in his book Politics of Indonesian State, Study on Amendment on 1945, as quote by Nikmatul Huda, reinforcement of the presidential system of government after governmental principle is: A. President and Vice President is the organization of state supreme executive power under the Constitution. B. President and Vice President shall be elected directly by the people and therefore politically President is no longer accountable to the assembly yet to the people who elect. President and or Vice President can be held accountable in law if the President and or Vice President have violated the law and the Constitution. The implementation of the liability was held in front of the Constitutional Court. D. Minister is assistant of the President who is appointed and dismissed by the President. The minister responsible to the President and not the Parliament. To limit President power and to ensure and stability of the government is determined. The president period should not be more than 2 terms. That under two provisions of the 1945 Constitution Article 1, the state of Indonesia in the form of government of the Democratic Republic. In addition to the above, the amendments made to 1945 Constitution also result in a shift in the President's power in shaping acts. Conclusion: Amendment of 1945 Constitution of the great influence on the change of the constitutional system in Indonesia, including change is the structure of the state administration I made and the improvement of the Constitution 1945 in order to become basic law. The Indonesian national corresponding with their rapidly developing era and to meet the needs of the people of Indonesia.